everyone? I hope you're doing well and having a fabulous day. I'm here to do a little chat about intuitive messaging coming in, observations from life, and all that fun stuff. And a lot of things that have been coming in is how a lot of people seem to be kind of losing their marbles, and it's due to stuff like fear and paranoia and looking at the outside world for enemies and wanting to be right and all of that jazz. Like, I've been seeing it a lot, and it's kind of wild. And that's not to say that people out there don't make poor choices or do harm or, mistreat others and all of that, but it's going to extremes. Like, it's wild, and it's just like people are so prone to projecting and pointing fingers at other people because they don't want to look at themselves. They don't want to, have self-reflection. They don't want to be accountable. It's so much easier to just blame everyone else and be like, nope, you're the evil one. You're just wicked. You are all the bad in the world, and I am all the good. So as soon as we just need to attack you, we need to pummel you. We need to just remove you from the face of the earth, and then all will be well. And it's just, that's not how it works. And they're like, nobody's perfect. We're all human. We all are flawed and works in progress, and we have our challenges and our weaknesses and our strengths, and we all can make mistakes. Like, no one is an all-knowing deity here on this planet. Nobody. And so I'm sure there have been times where you wish you had made a different choice, but you can't go back in time to change it. And so I feel like we need to give some people grace. That's not to say that they get a free pass to do whatever, but also to recognize that other people are fellow humans. Because a lot of times it feels like we don't see each other as human anymore. Like, there's so much division and chaos and conflict that there's like this tribalism where the other side is viewed as like demonic and evil and wicked and like not even human. Like, they're inhumane. They're like monsters. Like, it's just like, whoa, slow down. You're talking about fellow humans. And it's just like all this chaos and conflict and drama, it's unnecessary. Yes, we need to resolve things. Yes, we need to, share different perspectives and, resolve conflict and, correct misdeeds. And if there needs to be consequences or natural consequences, I'm not saying anyone gets a free pass, but the way people are going about things, it just seems childish in the sense of like temper tantrum and very simplified logic, not seeing the big picture, black and white, like it's either this or it's that, when both things could potentially be true. Like, there's like areas of gray, and like there's a lot more nuance to things than a lot of people want to give them credit. Like, it just blows my mind how aggressive and nasty and vicious people are being. And that's not to say everyone is, and that's not to say that anyone can't go down that road, because we're all human. And I don't hold myself above anyone else. Like, I know that I'm human. I know I'm flawed. I know I can make mistakes. And I can, get tripped up and go down the path of, viciousness and whatnot if I'm not careful. But I'm just over here blown away with how people are choosing to react, and a lot of it seems to be like condescension. Like, they want to have the moral high ground and be like, look at me, I'm better than you because I can say all the quote-unquote right things. I am doing quote-unquote all the right things, even though if you just like took a step back and looked at the actions, like, how is destroying other people's property the right thing? How is, causing all the slander and chaos and conflict and drama doing the right thing? Like, there's nothing wrong with speaking up and sharing your voice. Freedom of speech is here in the US, but there's a line where that gets crossed when it's just you're not even being truthful, like you're not listening to the other side and having an actual conversation and dialogue. Like there's no respect, there's no civility, there's no common decency to your fellow humans. It's just like, whoa, let's slow down. Because like stuff going on with my family, like I was just in shock of the conversations they were having, and it's just like, where did this even come from? Because like I remember I was talking to my brother, and he has had a lot of conflict on his path, and he still struggles a lot. And this isn't me, talking down and being like, oh, I'm better than him. It's just he has gotten lost a lot, and he surrounds himself with a lot of people that are not the best for him, that are not good influences on him, that keep having him go down a darker path. And to each their own, each person needs to figure it out. And I try to make suggestions and give some advice, but you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. So I'm not going over here to judge, but of all the things for my mom to just suddenly go to my brother, like it made no sense, because he's done a lot of things that are ambiguous in moral nature, and has gotten some conflicts with the law, we'll say, with that. But like, she goes, don't become racist, and I just like stopped. Like I couldn't even press it. Like, what did I just hear? And he goes, what? She's like, don't become racist, I won't let you. And just like, what? Are you kidding me? Like, what? Because out of all the things for her to tell him, she even knows, because she was asking him about one of his friends who is African American, and like he has a somewhat diverse group of friends, and he's had this like a lot of friends of different ethnicities since he was little. I'm just like, of all the people to go up and do this, I would have said that to my other brother before this one. Like, my other brother, he tends to just stick with those of similar background to us, and to each their own. But that brother also has arrogance and condescending issues, and kind of just, he has a lot of ego and thinks he's better than people. And my friend, who is like a sister to me, who I've known for most of my life, was like, yeah, the brother that my mom was like saying don't become a racist to, she's like, I can think of good things to say about him. I can think of nothing good to say about your other brother, and I'm sure there are good things about my other brother, but it's really hard to find it. Honestly, there are times when I wonder about him and if he potentially is possessed, or if, like, did stuff with his soul. I don't know. I'm just gonna leave that there, because I sort of wonder that about a lot of my family members to varying degrees. But it's just like, she's like, don't do it, and like she just kept saying it. I'm like, why are you bringing this up all of a sudden? Like, why? She's like, I'm so scared that he will become that, and this, that, and the other. I was like, why are you feeding into this fear? Like, there's no rationale for this. Like, yeah, the certain person who he says is his friend right now is not of like a different ethnicity and like very troubled soul. It's leading my brother down dark paths, but like he still keeps in contact with other friends, and it's just like, he doesn't strike me as the type that would ever become racist, unless he maybe got into like a cult and they brainwashed him. But that could happen to potentially anyone, because cults can do some really warpy mind stuff with the brain. So yeah, and like she just kept saying it, and then he just like was like cursing her, and I was like, what are you on about? And then it somehow turned into my brother ranting about how like we need to get rid of the government, and that apparently we're going to war with everyone that the government owes money just so they can erase the debt. And he's like, oh, it's gonna be China, oh, it's gonna be Japan, it's gonna be this, and I'm like, what are you, like, literally, what? I'm just over here just like trying to process where they're getting their thought process from, because I'm like, it just doesn't make sense. You can bring things up as potentialities for discussion, like, I don't have a problem with that, but like, they were so certain with it. I'm like, you guys are being really paranoid. Like, I'm just thinking, they're being so paranoid and they're so fearful, and like the whole thing with fear is false evidence appearing real. Like, they're just so ensnared by it and feeding so much energy to it, and I'm just like, oh my goodness. And like, that seems to be what's happening to a lot of people right now, is they're just getting so ensnared, and it's turning into like this frenzy of energy and like mob mentality, and like everyone's like freaking out and losing their marbles, and it's wild. It's so wild, because like literally they were having like this normal conversation, at least for them, like it just seemed kind of, you know, calm, level, and all of a sudden it just like took this turn, and I'm just over here like, did something try to possess you? Or are they trying to like manipulate you? Like, literally, where is this coming from? Is this normal? Like, you guys do have your like extremes, and my brother can have like rage issues, and my mom has worry issues and frustration issues, and they can just explode like that. But I'm like, this is a whole nother level for you guys. And it just makes me think about how entities and the enemy, and like, if you want to call it the devil, if you want to call it demons, like whatever you want to label it, like, things are really acting up, and they're trying to like confuse people, I think. And it just makes me think back to 2020, which is when a lot of this like friction and conflict and drama and chaos all started, because of like different parties and saying, oh, this person's Hitler, this person's this one. Like, it was very dehumanizing. And literally the slogan of the Democrats in 2020 was battle for the soul. It was battle for the soul. And like, we are in spiritual warfare right now. We are in very much spiritual warfare. Like, I have people that I don't talk to, they're just like coming at me, and they're trying to drag me into their games of pettiness and manipulation and anger, and just like suck energy and warp and like coerce and like gaslight and belittle and invalidate and all these things. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, can we take a chill pill, please? Please, like, we don't need to go down this road. And like, it's just wild to witness all of this. But yeah, you really gotta be mindful and don't engage if you can help it. Like, literally disengage, unsubscribe, and like walk away if you can, because it's wild. Like, there's people get into these extreme arguments, and it can even get physical. And thankfully my mom was on the phone with my brother, so they couldn't get physical with each other. But like, for whatever reason, my mom always decides to have phone calls on speakerphone, so that's a thing, and you can always hear every little thing that's said. Every little thing. And it's just wild. Like, I just over here baffled and perplexed at the enigma that is other people, because they're really playing all these games, and they expect you to play too, and then they get mad if you don't, and then they just like scream and they throw tantrums, and they try to like force you into it and coerce you, and it's like, oh my goodness, can't we just have peace? Like, can't we just talk like normal people? Can't we just treat each other like fellow human beings, you know, brothers and sisters of the divine children? Like, is that really too hard? I don't get it. But, you know, if it's a battle for the soul, it's spiritual warfare, the enemy is going to use whatever means necessary, whatever means available. And so if other people do not have, you know, that stable, solid, firm foundation of, you know, inner knowing, inner peace, inner happiness, just like self-knowing, self-worth, all these things, they're gonna have like this little way in for certain energies, beings, entities, whatever you want to call them, and they can be manipulated. And I'm pretty sure that's what happened a lot with my ex, because it got really, really bad. Turns out he was also a narcissist, but like literally a mutual friend who I'm sure is no longer friends with my ex, but it's like, man, this is like a freaking cult, because like people are witnessing everything that's going down, because he decided to make things public, or would be messaging them, and he's like, the friend was like, you're contradicting yourself, this makes no sense, what do you even mean, like that doesn't logic, that doesn't add up, that doesn't check up, what? But like he's like, yeah, then like, he turned the other people into like his followers, and he's like the cult leader, and it makes no sense, and this is crazy. And I'm like, okay, so it's not just me, because I'm just like, what the heck? I'm over here trying to do peace and like, you know, have everyone have like their peace shared, and like making a place where people feel safe and welcome and accepted, and it's like, oh, I'm the villain. Oh, okay, I don't see how that adds up. But that group just ended up projecting really, really hard. Everything they were doing, they were pointing fingers and lashing out at everyone else and saying that's what the other people were doing. And mind you, there was like 3 people who ended up speaking up for me. And it's like, no, that's not adding up. That's not what's happening here. And they didn't want to hear, and they were trying to kick people out, and they would accuse everybody else of being the villain. Even if I was staying silent, somehow I was still the villain. So, you know, like, when they're in that mindset with the spiritual warfare and all that, like, they're not going to see reason. And so, I have very much learned since all this started back in October of last year, I'm just like, I'm going to disengage. I'm going to not speak, because anything I say or anything I do, it gets twisted and contorted and misconstrued until somehow I'm the villain of the story. And yeah, it's not worth my time, energy, and attention. And I don't wish them ill will, like any of these people. I genuinely hope that they get the help they need, because oh boy, they need some help. Like, their emotions are running wild. They are all ensnared in fear and paranoia and anger, and it's not a pretty picture. These people, they need some peace in their lives. They genuinely need peace, but it can't be forced on them. You can't be like, oh hey, this, that, and the other. Like, they have to be receptive to it, because even if you try talking to them, it can just be like talking to a brick wall, or it could go in one ear and out the other, and there's nothing you can really do. You can wish them well, but the thing is, you can't save other people, especially if they don't want to be helped, especially if they want to stay on that road. Because some of these people, I think, really do want to stay on that road, because I think deep down they're afraid to look at themselves. I think deep down they know what they're doing is harmful or hurtful or disrespectful and not, you know, the best way forward. But I think they'd rather continue down that path because they know it, but also because if they continue down that path, they don't have to look at themselves. If everyone else is in the wrong, if everyone else, you know, is the enemy, is a demon, is evil, a Nazi, Hitler, whatever you want to label it as, like, they're, you know, the enemy and the villain, they don't have to do anything. They don't have to look at themselves. They don't have to change. They don't have to learn and grow and improve. They can just continue on because they have the moral high ground. But that's a very self-destructive path to go down. And I see it with my family, but you can't do anything about it if they don't want to listen, if they don't have the eyes and ears to see and hear. It's sad, but people reap what they sow, and there are natural consequences to things. And sometimes the only way they'll learn, the only way they'll have the breakthrough is when the natural consequences come in and it's some very tough love and it's not fun. But it is what it is and you can't do anything about it if that's where they're at. But yeah, stay strong, guys. Like, definitely disengage and protect and conserve your energy because we're gonna need it. This path, I feel like it's gonna be a while. We're in like this rebuilding phase because things are crumbling and getting destroyed and they're gonna be rebuilt, but it takes time. And it's gonna be a wild roller coaster ride for some of these people. Even if we're, being all chill and just like going with the flow and it's like a pretty smooth ride for us, there are going to be people like screaming their heads off and kicking and screaming and fighting all along the way. And yeah, it's going to be interesting watching what plays out in the wider world and within our families and loved ones, because some people are subscribed to some not healthy things, and some of that is like mentalities and narratives. Some of this is like substances and habits and vices and whatnot. And that's not me saying that I'm perfect, because I know I have things to work on, but I at least have a stronger internal foundation and sense of peace, because it's wild. Just watching these people, I'm like, that's how you choose to react. Okay. I don't get why we need to do that. Okay, and I'm just over here observing, and it's a lot. It's a lot. So I've been kind of in hermit mode, and just being mindful of my energy and trying to rest and protect and conserve my energy, because, oh boy, we need it. Anyhow, have a wonderful rest of your day. Please take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye!